Well, it's been a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another engrossing episode of Perceptive Learning Zone. I'm your host, Muhammad Hamza Nasser, and today I would just like to pick up where we left off and talk a bit more about, unspoken struggles, right? Unspoken struggles meaning discuss about mental health, shed some light on educational disparity, and maybe make a little bit more emphasis on the future of the Pakistani students as in this video as compared to the previous one. So, first of all, we have to ask ourselves, how do societal expectations impact the mental health of our students? Well, you see, these societal expectations, they are creating a significant pressure, right? Because first of all, there is a very high premium that our elders especially sort of place on academic achievement. Parents, teachers, and the wider community in general, right? They sort of expect students to be, excelling in exams. A good grade is viewed as the sole, solitary, and only pathway to success. And this relentless pressure to perform, well, it can lead to anxiety, it can lead to stress, it can lead to fear of failure. So when we look at it from a historical perspective, right, we see that the emphasis on rote memorization, on exam scores, it can be traced back to the colonial era, where education was only served to select candidates primarily for administrative roles. And this approach continues despite reforms aimed at sort of, enhancing the critical thinking of the masses. So open discussions as far as mental health is concerned, right? I feel that open discussions about mental health are uncommon in Pakistan. Um, the culture which does not exist where a person can openly discuss the mental issues that are plaguing him without feeling mocked or judged or vilified. And students often feel pressurized. I mean, I've sort of been through this myself, right? I can tell you firsthand from experience that often the students they feel pressurized to suppress their anxieties and struggles, the fear of disappointment, or at the very least, judgment from their family and peers. So, this lack of open communication, ladies and gentlemen, what it does is it sort of creates a sense of isolation, and this can exacerbate mental health issues. So, culturally, proud housing, collectivism, and family honor, it can make it difficult for students to seek help. Now, this is unlike some Western countries, of course, where open discussions or about mental health are becoming much more common and they're actually being promoted. So social media and these societal pressures, what they're doing is they are very relentless when it comes to fueling a constant comparison game. And students are bombarded, with images of seemingly perfect peers who are excelling academically and socially and practically. And this creates a feeling, I would say, of inadequacy and it lowers the self-esteem bar of students. So this is particularly when students struggle to meet unrealistic expectations, right? The pressure to conform to a narrow, very sort of shallow definition of success, it can be detrimental to mental well-being. These societal expectations, they create a sort of a breeding ground, I would say, for mental health issues like anxiety, depression, and in the worst case scenario, if push comes to shove, even suicidal ideation. So while there is no single historical event to pinpoint this pressure, it's a culmination of cultural norms and an education system that is focusing on rote learning and exams and is failing to incorporate holistic development into the priority agenda. I remember there's a show called, I guess, Certain Reasons Why, that stars a American high school student who ended up committing suicide. And even though there are a lot of reservations that people have over it for a number of reasons, me including me, but I feel like shows like 13 Reasons Why they did play a part in terms of realizing the need for having open conversations about matters that a person would not be comfortable discussing in public. So I feel like it's sort of a step in the right direction as far as encouraging people to open up about their problems is concerned. but the culture yet has to exist where people can openly, unload themselves. And I feel like we as individuals, it's very easy to blame the system, to blame the governments, to blame organizations, to blame the corporate bosses for being devoid of empathy. But I feel it has to start from us, be it as a, be it being there for someone as a relative or a colleague or a family member or a contemporary. We have to make ourselves more approachable, honor the concept of confidentiality, avoid backbiting, and help the other people battle their inner demons so that we can attain salvation, hopefully, in this world as well as the hereafter. So, next up, we focus on the disparity, the divide between the public and private education in Pakistan, and understand how it is sort of, affecting students. So, you know, we already talked in the previous episode about there being a very uneven playing field for students and how this is negatively affecting the educational outcomes. So, like I said before, public schools often catering to a large student body, they face chronic underfunding. And obviously, when you have chronic underfunding, there's going to be an area of other problematic scenarios coming into the equation as well. I'm talking about overcrowded classrooms, right? You got overcrowded classrooms, you got a substantial shortage of qualified teachers, with matters being made worse by the brain drain crisis in Pakistan. And there are limited resources like textbooks, technology, and shortage of proper academic infrastructure, I would say. In contrast, private schools have smaller class sizes, which means that the class is going to be more interactive instead of being just primarily teacher centered, right? And also they charge higher fees, these private schools, which is why they often invest in better facilities, attracting much more qualified teachers through comparative salaries and other non-pecuniary benefits. And obviously, they offer a wide range of extracurricular activities. Now, this disparity once again echoes the historical divide that was created by the British Raj, with its particular focus on English medium education for the elite, and this continues to, sort of influence the perception of quality education being associated with private institutions. Now, the quality of education in public schools is suffering not just because of under-resourced classrooms, but also because of less motivated teachers, right? It is very important for our society to honor its women, especially if it's a female teacher. I mean, there's a saying that this world is yet to see a single pious, upright, virtuous, and truly transformational leader, because in the degradation of women, the very fountains of life are being poison at the core. So teachers need to be more motivated. They need to be more enthusiastic, right? We got professors, we got lecturers, we got high school teachers who are completely oblivious to the efforts being put in by the students. I was approached by a student saying, Mr. Nasser, every week I'm, writing articles, I'm making videos, and on informative topics, constructive topics, right? I'm sort of doing projects and stuff, and I just share that with my teachers, and it's just like speaking to the wall. Urdu में कहते हैं भैंस के आगे बीन बजाना. Just try to teach poetry to fish, right? Those two blue ticks on WhatsApp, nothing after that, no response. Well, even if you can congratulate the student, even if you can comment the student on doing the great sensational job, at the very least we can do is sort of give them the constructive criticism that, all right, my lady or buddy, this is where you can sort of rectify yourself. This is where you can overcome these deficiencies. So it is very important for a teacher to synchronize his or her pace of teaching as with that of the lowest rate of comprehension of the particular student in the classroom, and not mock students when they ask questions. Make the students realize that there's no such thing as a stupid question. Unless, it's very important for teachers to be up to date with the latest trends in the industry and academia to sort of like we said before, bridge the industry academia gap. It is very important for teachers right now to be transformational role models, to make sure that their positive correlation or affiliation with the students goes inside as well as outside the classroom, They make themselves approachable on matters of mental health counseling as well. And they buck up their students because a great teacher is going to create a great generation. And similarly, a not so great teacher is going to end up destroying the generation as well. So it's on us teachers to raise the standards, and having taught in schools myself, I can say this firsthand that a lot of teachers obviously are simply not inspired because they're not being paid enough. And you got to empathize with them for that. And along with that, even teachers who are paid well and are actually putting in the hard yards are actually teaching their heart out, but they are victims of politics at the workplace. They are facing the wrath of toxic administrations imposing themselves like the pharaohs. And the student teacher respect factor is dwindling more and more as we speak. Now, whatever the reason is because of it, the kid is in bad company, he has poor choice of role models, he is far away from his creator, he's not religious, his parents didn't raise him up right, whatever the cases are, the upbringing factor is of paramount importance. And until we do not honor, no doubt, no teacher on the face of this planet is perfect. Pakistani teachers have their fair share of flaws. I say this as a Pakistani teacher myself. But until and unless we do not respect our teachers, until unless we don't give them the esteem and honor that they deserve, I assure you, what we see is only going to deteriorate in upcoming times. So we hope that a bond of common sense and empathy and charisma permeate from all echelons of the society. So like I said before, when you are underpaying your teachers, they will obviously encourage a more rote learning focused approach. There's going to be less emphasis on creativity and problem solving skills. And private schools, they can, on the other hand, offer a comparatively more engaging learning environment and focusing more on interactive teaching methods. So the high cost of private education is creating a barrier to access for students from underprivileged backgrounds. This perpetuates social inequalities as students from wealthier families, they have a clear advantage in securing quality education. They have a competitive edge in terms of attaining better career placements, right? This reinforces the existing social inequalities and sort of limits, I would say, it sort of limits social mobility, especially for those students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. This situation is reflecting a historical trend, ladies and gentlemen. It is reflecting a historical trend where access to quality education has been privileged. And as long as access to quality education is a privilege, well, we know it is always going to hinder social progress. Now, that being said and done, next up, we have to understand that the problem, once again, is not the problem. It is always our attitude about the problem. Now, the disparity, to summarize, between public and private education, right, it is leading to lower self-esteem. It is leading to frustration, right? It is leading to a sense of being disenfranchised, disadvantaged, right? This can hinder overall development. It is very dangerous as far as the mental health of the society is concerned. So we need a more equitable education system. We need to address matters like resource allocation. We need to improve teacher training in public schools, right? Obviously, we need to enhance our standards of moral and ethical upbringing of the upcoming generation. And we need to explore potential public-private partnerships to leverage expertise and resources for the benefits of all students. Now, I want to talk about, now since we were discussing about mental health issues and the disparity in public and private education. So I also want to talk about the impact of scarcity of student counselors. Us millennials, 1990s folks, we have suffered brutally in this regard, right? A lot of us chose a particular field only because a certain relative in the families did, right? Well, maybe we could have done a bit more research as well. Obviously, the blame, the fault lies at our side as well. But we literally had no counselors, in schools. We knew nothing. I personally chose chemical engineering, thinking it was just about chemistry, like I said before. So I think there not being enough counselors in schools is also creating a problem. There's no informed decision making. We are just operating on guesses and suppositions and assumptions and conjecture, and well, that will lead us to no good. वो एक saying है ना जिंदगी में, a solitary win is only going to cover the cracks. So the scarcity of student counselors in the Pakistani schools is having a significant and negative impact on the students' academic journeys, their career paths, and their overall well-being. Students, particularly at some critical junctures, right? Some crucial decision trajectories, like choosing their subjects after grade 10, applying for universities, right? In these cases, they are lacking access to professional guidance. A lot of students right now, they tell me that they're doing undergrad from different prominent universities in Pakistan, and there are no counselors or consultants in universities who can sort of help them with preparing for IELTS, helping them sort of write SOPs and assist them in scholarship essays and these university applications. So maybe I would say that is where we need to start off from, right? That is the first step. So this can lead to a lot of confusion, and even let's not even go all the way up to university level. Even if you talk a bit lower at the lower end, right? This can create a lot of confusion, especially regarding the debate between matriculation and O levels, right? अभी थोड़ी देर में मैं इसके ऊपर touch करता हूँ. So without a counselor's help in understanding their strengths, their interests, and future aspirations, these students, guys, might make choices that don't align with their potential, or that don't sort of coalesce or synchronize with their long-term goals. So historically, the lack of guidance can lead to students following traditional pathways. Dad is a doctor, son's a doctor, right? Mom's a lawyer, daughter's a lawyer, sort of like that stuff. This lack of guidance can lead to students following traditional paths, and this can obviously sort of restrict their ability to explore their full potential. Now, we know that saying in life, that an unexamined life is a life not worth living. So counselors play a very crucial role in supporting students' mental health and well-being. In a society where open communication already has massive limitations imposed on it, especially when it comes to mental health discussions. So students who are sort of grappling with these negative themes or academic pressures, they often have nowhere to run. So the career counselor, his role is of paramount importance, especially nowadays. This is particularly concerning considering the societal pressures that are upon us. And I also need to touch down upon this fact that this shortage, this lack of counselors, this is disproportionately affecting students from underprivileged backgrounds. Who do not have supportive families, who don't have access to private educational consultants, they might navigate the system with much more difficulty. So students from less fortunate backgrounds, they lack these resources, and this leaves them vulnerable to making professional decisions about their future trajectories. And obviously, this perpetuates stagnation and limits the social mobility of the society. So historically, once again, this lack of access to guidance has potentially contributed to the underrepresentation of certain social groups in the higher education and professional fields. So we need to increase the number of qualified counselors, provide them with adequate resources and training, okay? Teach them how to spot the worrying signs in students, what the symptoms of depression are, what sort of reformative punishments can we instill to promote a healthier society, a more virtuous, decent, and God-fearing society. And we need to integrate these guidance services with the education system, otherwise we won't be able to empower our students to make informed choices and navigate the challenges and ultimately reach their full potential. Now, next up, we talked about matriculation and O levels. Well, I'm going to talk about this in more detail in the upcoming session, but still, let's just discuss that quickly. So I often am bombarded with this question from a lot of factors saying that how does the debate between matriculation and O-level systems create confusion for the students? So this ongoing debate between matriculation and O-level systems in Pakistan, it is creating significant confusion for students, particularly at a crucial juncture. I need 5 minutes. Okay, particularly at a crucial juncture when they decide their educational system. Okay. Sorry, I just screwed up mine outside. Okay, so like I said before, this is creating a lot of problems, for the students. Um, Now, matriculation and O levels, they both have their pros and cons, but they aren't always clearly communicated to students and parents. Matric being the national curriculum, it is offering wider subjects and it aligns with a lot of Pakistani universities' entrance exams. However, the matric system might be perceived as less rigorous and less internationally recognized as compared to the Cambridge system, right? I come from an O level background myself. I can definitely say it opened up more opportunities for me as far as the globe was concerned. So O levels, which is administered by the Cambridge International Examination, it boasts global recognition and a potentially stronger curriculum. But then again, it has limited subject options, and this might not directly align with Pakistani university and test requirements. So this lack of clear objective comparison regarding long-term benefits for different student aspirations also creates a confused decision-making process. Now, social perception surrounding both systems, the O level, the O level, and the matric FC system, the societal perceptions they further cloud the decision. Matriculation is often seen as a traditional or more affordable option, catering primarily to students aiming for universities within Pakistan. O levels, on the other hand, are often viewed as prestigious and a gateway to international education. Now, this perception can be misleading as some Pakistan universities do accept O levels and strong matric scores can lead to scholarships abroad. But historically, like I said, the emphasis on English medium O levels can be linked back to the colonial legacy, where English proficiency was associated with higher social standing, and conversing in any language other than English was looked at in a very retrograde or derogatory style. So this leads to the current perception of O levels being superior. Now, many schools they struggle to provide adequate guidance to students for making this choice. Once again, we have limited counselors, and which sort of exacerbates the dilemma. So a more transparent and objective comparison of both streams is needed. And inshallah, in the next episode, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk a lot more about it. So next, now finally, before we conclude, right, I know I've taken a lot of your time. I really want to talk about the brain drain process. It's very pertinent. It is very relevant nowadays. So how does brain drain affect Pakistan, and what can be done to address it? I was checking out the survey. I think the first half of 2024, we have like 7 lakh Pakistanis leaving the country. The number is going up every year. So brain drain is the outflow of highly skilled professionals from Pakistan. First of all, that is what brain drain is. It has a significant negative impact on the country's development and economic prospects. When you have skilled professionals like doctors, engineers, scientists, lawyers, ID experts, and entrepreneurs leave the country in droves, well, the country is going to lose valuable knowledge, experience, as well as innovation potential. This creates a shortage of qualified personnel in critical sectors, which hinders economic growth and development. For instance, the recent exodus of medical professionals has put a strain on Pakistan's already fragile healthcare system. And historically, brain drain, we know, has hampered research and development initiative, impacting Pakistan's ability to compete in a globalized economy. Now, this lack of skilled professionals can obviously lead to a decline in productivity, but I feel it can also create a very vicious cycle because limited economic opportunities further incentivize skilled individuals to seek opportunities abroad. And this echoes the situation in the 1970s when a lack of investment in education and research led to a shortage of skilled workers, impacting industrial growth. So, brain drain impacts the quality of public services. The departure of doctors and engineers weakens the public healthcare system, the education sector, the infrastructure development process, and for example, if I just give an example, the recent shortage of teachers due to immigration, it can ultimately lead to larger class sizes. It can lead to a decline in the quality of education, particularly in public schools. So, offering comparative salaries and improving the political socioeconomic conditions of the country, creating more career development opportunities, and establishing a better work environment can sort of incentivize skilled professionals to stay in Pakistan. This requires investment in sectors like healthcare, education, and research to create more lucrative and professionally enticing opportunities. Strengthening universities and research institutions, along with improving research funding, can create a more stimulating environment for skilled individuals. This can involve public-private partnerships or leverage expertise and resources for research and development. So it is very important right now to promote a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. And, hopefully Pakistan can create a new attractive environment for skilled professionals and, sort of stem its brain drain and unlock its full potential for economic growth and development. So we are hopeful, we are optimistic, but it remains to be seen how, when this happens and even if it does happen, right? So that'll be it for now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for being a fantastic host, just like always. I get some of your comments and I'm preparing my topics accordingly. If you want me to speak on any particular matter that is of pressing importance or relevance for you, you are most welcome to reach out in the comment section. And it will be my pleasure to incorporate it into consideration. I wish you guys a lovely weekend, a happy Independence Day as well. On this day, maybe celebrate independence in a manner that is publicly appropriate, that is respectful without infringing on the peace of our neighbors or other fellow citizens and countrymen. And may we realize that this Independence Day should actually empower us. It should push us to bring out the best in ourselves. Let us work more on Independence Day, create more monetary resources for ourselves in the country, rather than just chilling on the bed. And let us make a pledge to be more honest, to be more transparent, to be more accountable, to be more self-responsible, to be more judicious with each other. Let us make a pledge to stop blaming others for the crisis that we are in today, but to point the finger at ourselves. Because when you spend your whole life looking for scapegoats, you tend to take accountability away from yourself. You refuse to, you basically absolve yourself of personal responsibility. This country was made with the sacrifices, with the blood sacrifices of a lot of people. So understand that, explore your roots, honor your family, honor your fellow countrymen, and remember that you alone can do a lot. Don't fear failure. Okay? Don't fear failure. Remember that if you're gonna succeed, you're gonna be making mistakes, but more importantly, you gotta have to learn from those mistakes. It's what Thomas Watson always says, that if you want to be successful quickly, you gotta multiply rate of failure, because success lies in the far side of failure. I wish you all a lovely weekend, and we'll definitely be back with much more quality content. You got it straight from Perceptive Learning Zone. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.